Another thing you'll find yourself working with quite widely in Go programs is time. And luckily Go has a very nice standard package called time. And within that there is a type which is a duration. And so we can just take a look at that. And a duration is actually at an int64 underneath. It's actually representing nanoseconds. But what's good about it is that you can use it throughout your program to represent any time value without any confusion. And I know that personally I've been confused in the past and introduced a horrible bug because I assumed that something that was an int was in microseconds and it was actually in milliseconds. So don't do the following kind of thing. Timeout equals 1000. So a very common thing would be for somebody to write that and put in comments that it is milliseconds, and then later on, having forgotten that, someone says, okay, I need to do a conversion on that, I'll multiply it by 1000, and now you've got a second, and your timeout might be enormous at that point. A far safer thing to do is to use the time values. So if you really want a millisecond, you can just use time, and you can come in and say 1 millisecond. And then it's unambiguous what that timeout is meant to be and what the actual value is intended to be. Sometimes you'll see durations like this on the command line, and if you take a look at the flag package, within here there is a duration value, and it will take a value on the command line and convert it into a duration. And what's really nice about this is it will parse it. And so you can actually type something meaningful on the command line. It uses a thing called time parse duration. And this is a function that allows you to type in something like 300 milliseconds or 2 hours, 45 minutes. So let's just do a quick example of that. Let's bring in the flag package, and we're going to define a timeout variable. I'm going to use the flag package itself. So let's go back to, so there's this duration thing. So we're going to say flag a duration, and we're going to call it timeout, the command line. We're going to give it a default value. Let's say we give it a millisecond. And I quite like to type 1 times, even though it's unnecessary, just to make it really clear that I meant 1 millisecond. And I'm going to say timeout value. And then we'll just parse the flags. And then we'll say timeout is, and then just allow the time package to print that out. So like that. So fairly simple little program. It's going to parse something. It'll be a millisecond if I don't type anything. That means it's optional. And oh, that's a pointer as well. So just make sure we do that. So the default timeout is 1 millisecond. As you can see, the default stringer for the time package tends to print things out rather nicely. And I'm just going to turn this into an actual program. So now I've got a foo program there. And I'm going to say timeout equals 1 hour. So now it's 1 hour and 300 milliseconds, 200 nanoseconds. So that is much, much better than spending any time typing in integers and then converting them and making comments about it. Use those duration things that are in the time package and in the flag package, and you'll find you don't have any headaches with the way in which you're doing times and timeouts.